Hey guys!
We're students here from New Hope Christian College.
And this is our podcast. My name is Niki, and I'm currently a senior here at New Hope Christian College, and my current major is being a Christian counselor.
My name is Elise. I'm a senior, and my major is interdisciplinary, which means it's just a broad mix of everything.
And my name is Emanuel, and my degree is pastoral studies.
Yeah.
Yes. And what's so great about all of us is that we all come from different backgrounds. Like, I'm from Maui, and where are you
I'm from around here, from Oregon.
Like
I'm from around
city.
here. Oh, I'm from Cottage Grove.
Yeah.
If anyone knows where that is.
She's a
Most
country
people
girl.
don't. But it's, small town girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah.
Yeah.
12 hours away.
Yeah. So, what were you guys expecting when you guys first came here? Like, for me, I technically came from a college before this. Like, I was doing hospitality and tourism, hoping to become like a flight attendant or work in the hotels. So that was like my first major. But then coming here, I was like, oh, God was kind of called me here and then into counseling, and it kind of like unfolded. But yeah, what were you guys expecting when you guys first came here?
What was I
Yeah.
expecting? Honestly, I had no expectations really. Like, I didn't know what college would be like. I was fresh out of high school. It was COVID, so I didn't really know. I didn't expect it to be as small as it was. Honestly, that was part of my things that I didn't expect.
But the good part of going to a small college is that like you really know everybody within like the first month or so.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think was like your favorite like outtake of like a small college like here?
Honestly, just like the support with specifically the professors, and like how easy I can find a mentor who is willing to pour into me. Just because there's just such a small student body that I just feel so supported and like seen, and it's really cool. Because that's definitely what I need and like what I want in my life. So
yeah, like for me, I was out of high school but went to university in Maui, and what was like society always pictures, like even in movies, like if you go straight into like a university, it's gonna have like the best experience, like the best education, friends. But in reality, yeah, you have good friends, but you don't really get the full like potential from like college. Like the professors like didn't know me. Like I would have like a class of like 50 students, and then I would be at like a Target, for example, and I saw my professor, and then she's like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "I had you. Like, this is the end of the semester, yet you don't know my name." So you never had that relationship with the professors. You never really knew their struggles, their lives. There was never a connection like over here. So that's something that I noticed when I came here. Like, wow, they really like want to get to know you. They really want to help you, which is pretty cool. Because when I was in college, it was before COVID, yet it still felt so distant. And have time where they want to like tutor us, which I found like you don't want to charge me, like it's free. Like they really want to help you, and like other classmates, like we all just kind of like siblings, like, oh, I have the books you can borrow. So that's something that really kind of threw me off first. I was like, this is so weird. Like I'm from Maui, and I'm like, you guys are so nice, and I thought I was gonna be like the outcast because I'm from an island, but in reality, it's like we all are different backgrounds, but we like mix, like Czechs mix, like we're a good mix. We just somehow work.
That's right.
What about you, man? Like, what was your expectations? Like, when you
My
first came here?
expectations when I first got here was that everybody was gonna be a
Like
family.
they'll stand out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was the only Hispanic. Well, there's another one too when I first got here, so I was like, well, goodbye to my Spanish, but
New culture.
yeah, new culture.
New
So I was
culture.
like, I'm gonna have to adapt to this place, but
Yeah.
little by little, it's been challenging. But we challenge when we're in a challenging spot. We often grow a lot when
Yeah.
we're challenged. So
Mhm.
I'm glad for that. It hasn't been easy, but
Yeah.
it's been challenging for sure.
Yeah, I agree too. Like when I first came here, I kind of thought like, oh, going to a Christian college, you had to like know everything in the Bible. And for me,
Mhm.
I like 2 years ago, I started to get serious with the Lord. So I was like, oh my gosh, am I gonna be like, they're gonna look at me like, wait, why are you here? You're not qualified. But in
Mhm.
reality, they were like so
Yeah.
understanding, and everyone all come from different backgrounds, different walks,
Yeah.
different challenges, and it's pretty neat how you can relate with some and learn from others. Like for you, you grew up in a Christian family, which was pretty
Mhm.
nice and neat, like good
Yeah.
foundations.
Yeah, definitely. Even though I grew up in a Christian family, coming here definitely like was so different. Like there was so much that I didn't know and so many different perspectives that I had never seen, and just like wow, there's so much more that I need to build on. And it really made me realize, yeah, like the level of faith that I was actually at. Like when I was separated from my family, I realized like yeah, this is where my faith is at, and if I want my faith to grow, I really need to just let Jesus really get to know Jesus and just stay strong. But this all I knew though was that this was the right place to do that. Yeah, so yeah, it's interesting though with all the different perspectives.
Yeah.
I like didn't even know existed, like that everyone just had a different relationship with Jesus. Really, it was just really cool.
Thank
Yeah,
you for
outside.
sharing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super outside of my comfort zone though.
Yeah.
I had never been around that many Christians before either, like that actually were in close relationship with me or wanted to be friends with me and like know me. That's a whole new thing. Having Christian friends is a whole new thing.
True.
It changes everything.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like it's like for real, like even being like at a small college, it just feels so wholesome to have people that support you, like that have the
Yeah.
same beliefs and morals. Like for me, going from a public school where it's like no one really talks about your faith. If you talk about your faith, everyone thinks you have to be a goody two-shoe, like you have to be like walking the walk. And I was like, well, I'm kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like my old life. Even my friends coming here, they're like, are you sure about this? Because like you kind of like have to change everything. And I'm like, yeah, but there's like a new life besides, it's not like it's boring and expectations. Instead it's like, yeah, to support family. And you really do learn to like have responsibility with your own life and see how God's purpose is for you. Like I thought my life was set. I was like, right, I got it all planned. I'm going to get good money. But in reality, money's not going to solve everything, literally, because you could have all the money in the world, but you'll still be lost. You're like, why do I feel so empty?
Yeah.
But kind of like,
That's very
yeah.
true.
What about you?
Yeah. When I came here, my background from church was, I honestly had a perspective of church as very traumatizing, in my opinion. So coming here was very different, and everybody was kind of, and God was proving me wrong in my mindset about Christians and godly people. So it was very different because, I mean, from a young age I felt traumatized from church and everything. So coming here and God proving me wrong and God kind of speaking to me about it's not, the people are imperfect, but Jesus, my son, is not, and I'm not, and so that's what he was trying to teach me when I first got here. And it's been a journey, but it's been something beautiful to just walk through with Christ and to just see the community that we have here.
Yeah.
It's so supportive, and like you were saying, the teachers, we're connected with the teachers, and it's really, we're connected spiritually as a family, and we're united in Christ, and that's our foundation, is that we're just united in Christ. And when we get that right is when we can do life together and really begin to see the fruit of the Spirit being poured out through us as students and his church as well.
Yeah, that's true because, and I feel like for me, I saw the support, but yet, like you said, it was kind of traumatizing, like churches, like my old church, it was really great. Everything, theology was right, people were loving, but there's also, like you said, as humans, we all fall short some places, and for me, I always thought, like, there's some people that were very, like, straightforward and condemning, and I thought, like, oh, I have to put walls up. I can't be so transparent because that means you're a target and you're just...
Judgment.
Yeah. You're going to be, like, the bad one, you know, like the bad bunch, you know, that has to get some TLC. But in reality, the moment when, like, I put my walls down, it took me, like, wow, it's so refreshing. Like, it's not so stressful. Like, this whole time I stressed myself out, like, I don't know if I want to be here. I don't know if I fit. But in reality, I had to just kind of tell myself day after day, like, driving to campus, I'm like, you know, God chose me here for a reason. Take it day by day because, you know, through it all, He's there. And the people there are for me, not against me. So it was more like self-correcting myself, you know, which was really different. But you guys both live on campus. So what are some things that you guys both experienced with dorm life? Because our school is, like I said, it's like a family. What's your input from the girls' dorm?
Oh, what is it's
like
so much fun.
Yeah.
I love living in the dorm, like just living in the dorms. And I definitely haven't had this like living like starting my freshman year. That was my first experience with like good relationships with girls.
Yeah.
And then we're all like living like it was so and then so many of them. I was kind of like overwhelmed at one point. Just like how supportive everyone was and like how people like we just wanted I don't know. It's gotten better too. That's what's cool. It's like I thought it was good and then it like has gotten so much better from that point. Just all of we're just all so close. The girls are all so close right now. We all just love to hang out together. I don't know. We go in each other's rooms. Like check each other's outfits. Like, and it's just like so much fun. And it was something I didn't know I needed, and for some reason I didn't think that I could have. Was just such good friendships with girls like that, and it was like wow, it's pretty cool. It's really cool. It's such a huge blessing in my life, actually.
Like they all became your sisters.
Sisterhood.
You literally eat, read, go to Devo together, cry together,
watch movies,
stress, everything. Clean your room together, clean your toilet together. I mean, I love cleaning. For me, I love cleaning. That's my fun time. Fun fact. I love to clean. I clean every 3 days. I clean every 3 days. I'm excited. But what about you, Emanuel, from the guy's side?
Yeah, for me, I could really tell when I got here, it's a real brotherhood. Like when I started noticing that people started caring for me, I was like, what? This is not real. Are you, did somebody send you to do this? Or what's going on here? I was like, why are you asking or caring so much? Because I've never had this, group of boys like this just come up to me and ask if I needed anything or how am I doing with this spiritually? How am I doing with the move and everything? What can they help me with? So it's really... And it kind of reminds me of like the book of Acts when the church was just so united and they were all doing everything together and just doing life together and sharing everything. They all ate together. They all gave things away to the more needy that were in need. So it's like, it reminded me of that. And I was like, wow. When I was doing devotions one day, I was like, wow, this reminds me of like this place, New Hope Christian College, especially at the dorms. It's just so awesome to see how God unites us all as boys, and we just do worship nights at times and movie nights. Sometimes we do devotions together, a group of us, and we all just keep each other accountable as well. And accountability is big for us now, and it's slowly been growing where we've been transparent with each other, and with transparency comes accountability, of course, and a growth.
I feel like I don't know about you guys, but for me, when I first came here, I was a totally different person. Like literally, like how I acted and like my way of thinking. But like, for example, when I first came here, I was kind of more, like I said, my walls were up, but also kind of like skeptical about, okay, do I really want to come to college? Like, I don't even know if I want to learn about the Bible because it might be boring. But in reality, the Bible, like doing devos, like all of us in the morning and stuff, it sounds cliche, but it actually made me like understand the Lord better, and also made me kind of like navigate through all my rough edges, because I used to be very like feisty. Like, I used to be like really like, I would pop off easily, but it's less now. But like, I feel like the Lord softened me, and also like, yeah, just doing community with people really helps, and it made me understand like, oh, God is actually not so harsh. Like, okay, bring it back a notch. But how are you guys different from when you first came here?
Do you want to go first?
Do you have something you want to say?
He's like, I gotta think.
Are you?
This is a lot.
I can go first.
Okay,
then.
go ahead.
I mean, when I first got here, my mindset and perspective was on, like I said earlier, it was just like church. I have a lot of trauma with church, and the only reason I got here was through God. Like, not being so feisty. It's like, okay, Niki, let's take a step back, and it's like, let's think about this.
We're all human.
So I just love how gentle the Lord has been since my time when I got here and now, and it's like little by little He's been just speaking to me personally about like, okay, now let's take all this trauma that you have, and it's like, let's deal with it a little deeper, and it's like, okay, let's go into this, and it's like,
so good.
It's like He's just such a gentle God, and He's always providing ways for us to heal inside and out. And boy, it's been a journey, but it's been something that I would much rather do now than later in life, and throw so much away later in life because I didn't, seek the healing that I needed now. So I'm just glad that the Lord has been faithful with that, and my disobedience before coming here, I was a year just working, but it took me a whole year to obey God and come here. So I just don't want to prolong obedience anymore, because prolonging obedience is a sin. It's disobedience.
And in reality, we think like, oh, the more we kind of like put God on the bookshelf, we're thinking like we're getting like all the benefits, like, oh, we're having the best of both worlds. But in reality, God's like, why are you holding up on your blessings? You could have it all now. Like, why you want to be lost for? Like, you're going in circles. And I feel like, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I kind of had to do the trial and error. Like, it really helped me. Like, going through the trials really humbled me. Like, wow. It made me appreciate this college, because going to university and now it really made me like, wow, God, I'm so happy that you did that for point A and here is point B, because if I went here first, I'd be like, no, I just want to be Bill. I just want to live the party life and go to, a university where they don't care about me. They're not so like loving towards me and like supporting. It's like, no, just let me be free. Let me be like, do what I want. But I feel like, with you coming here a year later, me coming here like 2 or 3 years later, and then you out of high school, it's like there's all a purpose and reason, because God's like, no, I know so and so would be good here, so and so would be good this time. And I think that's so beautiful. How
His timing is perfect.
Like literally, we're all like different ages, yet God made the plan so clear for us in our own ways. But what about you, Elise? Like, what have you noticed? What's been so different from when you first came here?
Well, when I came here, I definitely was a lot less confident in myself. I thought I knew who I was, but definitely had a moment of God shaking me up, and I realized I don't know who I am. And then I was like, I need to know who I am. That's very important. And I was like, okay, best way to do that, I do know that for sure, is that God created me, and I need to know Him if I want to know who I am. And so, like, I got to that point probably like freshman year. Like, I thought I knew who I was. I thought I was doing fine, and then I was like shaken up. And so from there, it felt like I was building from like ground zero to like totally. It was like a total like reconstruction.
That's good.
Of just like my identity and like who I thought I was compared to who God actually made me to be. He definitely has done a lot of healing in me when it comes to like relationships. And just like trusting people and trusting and then also just trusting that who he created me to be is enough and is enough for people to love me. It's just to be myself is enough. So I've definitely I feel like I'm a totally different person. I definitely am not that, like I know that for sure, even though I haven't thought like really specifically about all the different things, but I know all I know is that like if I look at a picture of myself from like freshman year, I know it's like I actually was doing that the other day. I saw myself from freshman year and I was like, that's not the same person. Like I really, it's like I did look different. Like I had my hair different, but I also was.
She had like a Milan moment. She was looking at the reflection and singing.
Bangs.
Bangs. I don't know.
Wow.
But I'm definitely. It's actually crazy to think about it right now.
It really is, and it's just so awesome to see, look back. For me, it's been 2 years, and for you, it's been 3, right?
Because this is my 4th year.
For you as well, 2 years, and it's like, just to take a look back and see, oh wow. And sometimes we can be so deceived by Satan and be like, he hasn't done anything in 2 years or 3 years, and it's like, no, that's not truth. Which truth is that God is always working on us, and he's always teaching us something new. And it's like, when I look 2 years back, I'm like, wow, like he was much more broken back then than, he is now. And it's like God's been so faithful in teaching us and molding us and really teaching us what servanthood is, what real servanthood is, not self-serving, because we don't want to be self-serving leaders in life and in ministry. And that can be detrimental later on in life. But we want to serve God and his people. And those are the 2 commandments. Those are the 2 main commandments that he's called us to do and fulfill. So
I like how you said that, because serving, like kind of like how Jesus like character was. Like I always thought it was cliche, like when people say be more like Jesus, I thought it's like, why are you telling me what to do? But in reality it's like, no, be more like Jesus, because the benefits are so like, it's not anything you could imagine. Like learning to like just be a servant, like going to church, going to class, it's like, wow, it's like volunteering, it really changes my heart, and you just find this joy that you can't really find anywhere else. And it's like, oh wow, now I know why people love it. Like when you go to church, you always see like, why is that person so perky? Like what kind of, like what are they on? Are they drunk, high, or like what do they have? But it's like, no, they're have the Holy they're on Jesus. Like the Holy Spirit like transforms them, and it brings them peace, and being community, it's like you feel like whole. And I just think that's so neat. And I just really think that the Lord will do things unexpected ways. And I feel like, and before when I first came here, another barrier that I had to go through was comparison. Because when I first came here, like, when you have like your, like social media is good and bad, but like for me, you always look at Instagram stories, like you always see posts of like your classmates. And I saw a lot of my classmates when I first came here already graduating. They're like, oh, I'm being a teacher, and then while I'm still here, they're like, oh, I'm teaching a class already, I'm a nurse. And I'm like, wow, they're already set, like they have their own place, they're married, and and for me, I'm like, dang, I'm like 3 steps behind. But God's like, no, in reality, your future is still going, like a life with me, like it's set for eternity. Don't worry about the earth, like what you're doing here on earth, like you have it set now, and it's whatever you're doing is going to be rewarding, like inwardly and outwardly, and that's something I had to like work on. Like, don't compare, just look forward to what God has for me. Like that scripture about his word is a lamp to my feet. And I always thought, well, why is it a lamp to my feet? Like, I can see. But he's like, no, in this world, you're going to be confused with, like, Satan. Satan's going to try to tempt you. But, like, through him, he's going to guide you each step. And I'm like, wow. Now I see what it's like.
Only step by step.
Yeah, like, when you live it out, then all the scripture and everything literally goes into play. Like, that's why I say you have to live it to believe it. That's true.
awesome.
Yeah, I loved how you explained that,
Yeah.
Nikki, and it really is like he shows us little by little. It's like, okay, this step, then the next,
Yeah.
and I'll show you the next
Yeah.
step, and now
Yeah.
you just have to. We just have to walk by faith, literally,
Yeah.
and it's like
Mhm.
we just have to have blind faith at all times because,
True.
and be obedient to Christ, and
Mhm.
whatever He calls us to do, whether it's
Mhm.
to help somebody out or
Mhm.
you know
Yeah.
help your parents out or family or whatever. It's like let's be obedient in
Yeah.
that and showing love and
Mhm.
Christ most importantly
Yeah.
is what will
Mhm.
put the seed in their heart.
Yeah, because a lot of people are lost in this day and age, and like sometimes they have to look at someone to encourage them. You know, like everyone is battling their own, traps from the enemy, but like just living through it, showing people that no, there is a hope, a way, and a foundation. Like if we can go this way, you can go that way too. Like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I think what's so cool is that when God does show us like step by step, He does it for a reason, because He's like, oh no, I know if I open the door and show her, okay, that means you're going to be a counselor. Like coming here, if God told me I'm going to be a counselor for middle school kids, like I would be like, no, you got it all wrong. I'm not going to go there because that's not me. But in reality, like there's change. Like He changed my heart, He changed my perspective, and then like, oh, it all makes sense.
Yeah, and just what you're saying with like
Yeah.
how He's a gentle God,
Mhm.
that was so good to me.
Yeah, that's
just
good
like that's so
stuff.
true.
Yeah.
And it's like He is so gentle, and he does lead you step by step,
Mhm.
and kind of like the picture that He's given me as I've walked with Him just the past few years, like is He literally like will hold your hand
Yeah.
and like take you step by step
Mhm.
to where you need to be, but you just
Yeah.
gotta hold, like He will hold your hand, like you
Yeah.
don't need to worry,
Yeah.
and so it's like not a huge step, like oh my gosh, like I'm gonna go from here to here, and like God, can I do that? I don't know, but He's like, no, I
Yeah.
literally like have everything laid out, like
Mhm.
each step, but like you need to be holding my hand to even see this step.
Yeah.
So like for me that's exactly how it's been, because my whole life I haven't even known what I wanted to be, but I just
Yeah.
know that okay, God, I like all I know is I know what's in front of me, and I know that that you will take me the next step, and that's all I know.
Yeah.
Like that's all I know. I don't even have, I'm still at that point where it's like
Yeah.
I don't have even a plan for next year, like I don't know what's gonna happen. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
That's so neat though.
yeah, it's
'Cause
really cool.
I haven't met you from when you were here like as a freshman, but I remember like I think it was last year you were telling me like you had to struggle with people pleasing. Like you always kind of wanted people please, and you
Yeah.
had to learn to, and I like now if you didn't tell me that I wouldn't have guessed that, because just seeing your growth from when I came here 2 years ago, I really saw like how confident you are now. Like
Yeah, and just comparison too, like
Yeah.
it's holding me back so much.
Mhm.
There's so many things, guys.
she had to
You
cut
probably
the
know.
cord.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but comparison.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like a lot of pastors say like when you compare yourself, you lose a lot of joy in what you do.
Yeah.
And I think that's something so
I've
big,
experienced
especially
that.
among us younger generation where we're so influenced with like social media and like YouTube and everything
Yeah.
we see outside of us.
Mhm.
It's like we compare it to like, why don't I have that car already?
Yeah.
Why don't I have those shoes over there? Or man, I wish I had that hairstyle or a mohawk. It's like we're always
Nice.
we're taught to compare on social media
Yeah.
to everybody else in the
Mhm.
world, and it's like let's take a step back and just like think like, is that what God really wants for me right now? Is like to compare myself to
Yeah.
others, and it's like no, it's like in the body of Christ, like we all complement each other and not
Like a
and-
good bowl of Chex Mix.
yeah,
All
exactly.
different but good.
Yeah, that's right. Sure, yeah. It's like one body isn't greater than
Yeah.
one body part isn't greater than the other, but we
Yeah.
all come together
Mhm.
in one body and we complement one another, and that's
Yeah.
what we're called to do, is just complement one another, to not look, oh, the pastor is more important than I
Yeah.
am. And it's like, no, we're all servants,
Yeah.
and that's where it's at, and we're
Mhm.
all equal. And
Yeah.
it's like neither Jew nor Gentile, you
Mhm.
know, and it's like,
Yeah.
wow, it's just so important to always have that perspective in mind, because when we begin to compare ourselves, we just
Yeah.
lose a lot of joy in serving
Mhm.
with each other.
And it holds you
and
back so
it really
much.
does
Yeah,
hold you
that's
back from
what's
so
hold-
much
yeah.
potential.
Yeah.
And it's something that is very important, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just glad that you
Yeah.
you don't compare yourself
Yeah.
anymore, and you
I mean-
just it's a lie from
Mhm.
Satan straight up.
And honestly, like something that in Devils, like the Lord kind of told me, He's like, you're always seeking the greatest goal, the greatest potential, happiness. But I'm like, yeah, like I want it. But God's like, it's simple. Just look through me. Like focus on your relationship to me. It's so simple, but that's just all you need. I'll do the rest. And
Mhm.
like He kind of like spelt out like the word joy. He kind of showed me like the J stands for Jesus, the O is over, and the Y is yourself. And he told me like that's how it is. Like if you want to find joy, you have to choose Jesus over yourself.
Mhm.
That means
Wow.
is like choose Him over your priorities. Choose Him over your fleshful desires. Choose Him. You've always been true, and I always think of it like, like we always tell people, like you have to be true. You cannot be fake to me. Don't be two-faced. And Jesus was like, well, you're doing that. You're being two-faced.
Oh.
Just trust me. Like I'm telling you, it's written. It's you felt the Spirit telling you, like just choose me if you want joy. And I was like, okay, yeah.
That's very true. And when you said
Mhm.
Jesus over yourself, it
Yeah.
reminded me of like that's what we
Yeah.
have to do every day.
It's a
like
battle every day.
die
Yeah.
to our
Yeah.
flesh every day.
Yeah.
And it's like
every song, every
It's
morning,
not
every
every
prayer.
other day.
yeah, not every other
Devotions
day
are
or
like,
every
oh my
other
gosh.
month.
Yeah.
But die to
Yeah.
your flesh every day, and it's
Yeah.
something that we should be practicing daily.
Yeah.
And like just being in His Word
Mhm.
is even dying to our flesh, because our flesh is gonna want to do something
Mhm.
else. So it's like
Yeah.
practicing these little tiny things is
Yeah.
what really
Mhm.
it's like it reflects a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
So dying to our flesh is really important. So I like how you said
Yeah.
the acronym JOY. others' mistakes instead of
Yeah.
from learning
Yeah.
from my own mistakes, and I
Yeah.
have to go through the hard stuff. But it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, let's really learn from wisdom instead of
Yeah.
our
Yeah. I
consequences
agree.
and our mistakes. And it's just, yeah, and I think that's something that's also been so different. Is like when we get here, we're not so much self-correcting leaders, but after a while, it's like the Lord begins to mold us and gives us more insight and wisdom
Yeah.
about our lives and about others, and it's like He begins to allow us to become self-correcting leaders, and I think that's something that has been a change in my life as well. It's like just correct yourself before somebody corrects you or I correct
Correct
you.
yourself
It's like,
before you wreck yourself.
yeah, repent in private so it doesn't
Yeah.
become public, you know.
Exactly.
So it's something that has been may not know yet, but little by little he's revealing to us through those steps of faith, and he's so gentle with us, and just don't prolong any obedience. Just
because obedience equals to blessings. You don't want to lose out on good stuff.
And the more we prolong obedience, it's like, yes, the more we cut out on blessings, and we're losing blessings little by little without us even knowing, and that's something Satan probably even knows himself. It's like, oh yeah, they're missing out on these little blessings. It's fine. This is exactly what I wanted for them to do, and it's like, we can't be blindsided, but
disobedience it's just breaking your relationship with God. And within your relationship with God is like everything. It's your whole life. It's all the good that can, like, it's just like, that's what you were made for. And so that's why you don't experience, like, it's not that you won't have good things in your life. But it's literally like the relationship with your Creator is the most important thing. So why would you want to break that, you know? Anyway.
It's good stuff. It's like I had to throw it in there.
It's important.
But I like how you guys all kind of like it chimes in, and even like what you said about like even with your faith and just living it out and trusting the Lord, it's also like like proof for others around you, like loved ones, that like you want them to experience too, like, no, this is actually safe, like, you know, to just see it through you. And I think what's so neat is that people, you don't think they're watching, but a lot of people are watching when people like go to Christ, because they're skeptical. They're like, okay, is this legit? Is this real? Is it like a waste of time? But for me, when I go back home, a lot of people is like, oh, you're different, but it's like not a bad different, it's like a good different. But they don't really know why, and it's like once you kind of like, you know, and that's how God works, like he has like his own time and place, you know, and he waits for you. Like I like when, like, I don't even know who this pastor is, I forgot to, but this one pastor told me, like, you know, pretend like there's a door and Jesus is outside. He's a gentle king. He just waits. And a gentleman.
I thought you were gonna say gentleman.
But it's okay. He's a gentleman and a gentle king. But like, you know, that's why when people say, oh, you have free will and free choice, it's not just to sin and go to him for grace, but in reality it's like he gives you that option in place to let him in, you know, like open the door and he's there and he will pull through eventually. And sometimes it's not instantly, sometimes what he has in front of you is for you to do and figure out before he can show you what he's doing later on. And I feel that's so cool that, you know, I haven't invited him yet, and when you do that, it's like, dang, like everything connects the dots. And I feel like a piece of advice for me to give to the audience and whoever's watching, like it's like for all ages, if you're in high school that don't know what to do with your plans, or if you're older and you feel like God's, you know, calling you for greater things, you know, just be obedient, even if it means going back to school, or, you know, just showing Jesus at your workplace, or just repairing that relationship. Like, doesn't have to be school, work, like whatever God's gift he put in you, learn about it through spending time in his word, and then he'll reveal to you the beauty of it. So just to persevere, because the enemy will try anything he can to get you down, but always just remember always remember the first time God spoke to you. It's like always remember that first feeling, that first like relief, and just remember, okay, I gotta keep going, I gotta keep motivating, you know, because the enemy's gonna try to pull a fast one on you, you know. And someone always told me that if the enemy is attacking you harder, it's because there's a great plan ahead of you. Right. Like he wouldn't be attacking you for a reason, so it's like God has something special for you. But,
definitely.
Yeah.
And it's so important to persevere, especially in those troubling times, because when we come out greater when we are dealing with something, and at the end of the trial or whatever we're learning in that season, it's like something greater is even there. We persevere and we see God's faithfulness and His truth. And you know, even if we're going through the same sins over and over and over, it's like, God, I'm never gonna get rid of this. Like little by little, it's like just get back to doing what you know is right, and that's okay. It's like, forget about it. Ask for forgiveness and repent. But it's just move on and get back to doing what you know is right. And it's like that's serving God's people. And you know, being a good follower.
Exactly.
And when we do that and we just persevere and we never get weary of doing good, it's just so important. So persevering and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and that light is Jesus.
Oh yeah, and another last fast piece of advice would be like, just write an encouragement message to yourself. Like when I first came here, it took me like maybe 6 months in that I wrote a letter to myself, like what I want out of this, and just seal it up and just read it when you graduate to see like, wow, what have God done, but more. And I feel like that is something like, it's cliche to write a letter to yourself, but it's just to see how much you've grown, and just it's beautiful to see and to keep to even show like your future family or your friends. But yeah, and in all aspects, I think this is so great how all of us can come together, all different backgrounds, all different areas of life and ages, but we all experience the same and different, but we have our own takeaways. But thank you guys for watching. I hope that something stood out to you guys from this video, and don't forget to watch our videos on our channel. It's New Hope Christian College for more content. But yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.